You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News Brief. In a report from the Epoch Times, exclusive, Andrew McCabe told Congress that Comey's draft exoneration of Clinton was unprecedented. Andrew McCabe, the former deputy director of the FBI, told House lawmakers during a closed-door session in late 2017 that other than the probe into Hillary Clinton's unauthorized use of a private email server, he was not aware of any instance in which the FBI exoneration statement was drafted prior to the conclusion of an investigation. "This is the only time that I am aware of, sir," McCabe told a lawmaker who asked him if it was common practice to lay out an exoneration statement 2 months prior to concluding an investigation, according to a transcript obtained by the Epoch Times. Then FBI Director James Comey had circulated a draft exoneration in May 2016, 2 months prior to concluding the investigation. Representatives and staff from the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees grilled McCabe during an 8-hour session on December 21st, 2017. 2 days later, McCabe announced his retirement. McCabe was forced to resign from his active position on January 29, 2018, and on March 16, 2018, the day before McCabe was to retire with a full pension, then Attorney General Jeff Sessions fired him for lying to investigators about self-serving leaks to the media. One of the sweetest days of my life. The Judiciary and Oversight Committees wrapped up a year-long investigation last month after interviewing more than 20 witnesses, including McCabe, Comey, and former Attorney General Loretta Lynch. The lawmakers concluded that the Obama Justice Department treated Clinton and then candidate Trump unequally in 2016. While the DOJ appears to have abused foreign intelligence surveillance powers to target a Trump presidential campaign associate, its investigation of Clinton was over before it began. A summary released by the House Judiciary Committee states, Comey drafted the statement to exonerate Clinton 2 months prior to concluding the investigation and before interviewing more than a dozen key witnesses, including Clinton herself. Among other issues, the draft was edited to remove all mentions of gross negligence, a statutory term in the criminal code. McCabe said he played a marginal role in editing Comey's draft statement and does not remember having any discussions about the removal of a gross negligence from the text. In one line of questioning, lawmakers showed that McCabe remembered discussions regarding another edit to the same draft, but not any conversations about the gross negligence aspect. Representative questions McCabe, "So you mentioned that you didn't talk to anybody about the extremely careless and grossly negligent, but you did go and talk about the cyber side of that. So why would you talk to cyber experts about the changes there and not the extremely careless to grossly negligent? Why do you recall one and not the other?" McCabe answers, "To be clear, I did not say that I did not discuss this with Director Comey. I participated in many discussions about many things." "So you did discuss it?" "I don't have a clear recollection of discussing." "Okay, do you have any recollection of discussing it?" "That edit? Grossly negligent and extremely careless. Any recollection?" I do not. McCabe claimed to not remember or recall certain events or certain matters more than 24 times during the interview. That sounds distressingly familiar. McCabe detailed tensions between the FBI and DOJ over how the email investigation was to be conducted. While FBI staff pushed to use subpoenas to force witnesses to answer questions and produce evidence, the Justice Department preferred to negotiate with defense lawyers. There were times that people in the FBI suggested and wanted to pursue, let's say, acquiring evidence through legal process, rather than the department's preferred route, which was negotiating consent to access different pieces of evidence, McCabe said. The investigators ultimately followed the path preferred by the DOJ. Lisa Page, an FBI counsel who worked on the email investigation, described similar tensions during 2 days of testimony in July 2018, detailed for the first time by the Epoch Times on January 11th. And we went over that in the live stream last night. Until now, it was believed that Special Counsel Robert Mueller had been solely responsible for the removal of Strzok from his team's Russia investigation. While Mueller may have been involved, testimony revealed that it was McCabe who was personally responsible for the decision to remove Strzok from the Mueller probe. McCabe testified that he was briefed in late July 2017 on biased text messages sent by FBI Deputy Assistant Director Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. McCabe said that the Justice Department Office of Inspector General contacted him on July 27, 2017, and said they had a very important matter for me to review, and they needed me to come across the street and talk to them that day, which was unusual. I made the decision to remove him from the investigation that evening, McCabe said. I came back from my meeting with the Inspector General. I met with a very small group of my fellow leaders. We discussed Peter's reassignment, and we discussed where we would place him. McCabe's view of the matter is similar to that expressed by Comey during testimony last month. Comey said he would have removed Strzok from the investigation if he'd seen the biased text messages. If I had known about those things that they were communicating that I've seen in open source, I would not have had them stay on the playing any role in connection with that Clinton email investigation, Comey said on December 7th. In the text messages, Strzok called then-candidate Trump an idiot, rooted for Clinton to win the election, and discussed an insurance policy in the unlikely event Trump won the presidency. We are seeing that insurance policy play out right now. Page confirmed in her testimony that the Andy in the insurance policy text message was McCabe. However, during his testimony, McCabe said he did not know who Andy referred to. Representative answered questions. Do you know the identity of the Andy who was mentioned in that text message? McCabe, I do not. Representative, were there any other Andys who were working on this email investigation employed by the FBI or DOJ? McCabe says, I mean, not at my level, and not that I'm aware of, sir, but I can't vouch for how many Andys we have. Oh, God. Andrew McCabe, classic. All right, well, what do you guys think? I would really like to get my hands on this full transcript and see what Andrew McCabe's testimony was all about. I'm sure it's a lot of obstruction. I'm sure it's a lot of do not recalls. But either way, I think that it would be certainly something I'd want to read. Also, just briefly wanted to go over this tweet that my friend on Twitter, Tiffany Fitzhenry, put out. It is from WikiLeaks. It is from January 10th. And WikiLeaks asks the question, why did the U.S. State Department ship frozen penguin pineal glands from Argentina in 1973? And Tiffany asked the question, better yet, why is WikiLeaks posting this today? Now, this is not the first time I've seen WikiLeaks post this, but it certainly does beg the question, why? I think that when you do a little more research and you learn about adrenochrome and what pineal glands are used for, then it poses a terrifying answer. So I suppose it's better that they're using penguins than they're using humans. Was this done in the lead up to research where the best source of adrenochrome was from? It shows here in 1973 that there was a shipment of frozen penguin glands from Argentina to the Department of State, the Secretary of State. Why was the Secretary of State importing pineal glands from penguins? Very, very interesting. Let's take a look at the actual cable from WikiLeaks. Frozen penguin pineal glands will be shipped PA 204 ETD, Buenos Aires 3 to New York, and National 62 arriving Boston August 4th at 13:30 p.m. That's all it says. Public Library of U.S. Diplomacy. Why is the government shipping frozen penguin pineal glands? If you don't know, do a little Google search for adrenochrome. Tell me what you find. Also, quickly wanted to go over this notable from yesterday. Donald Trump tweeted on January 9th, gave an off-the-record luncheon, somewhat of a White House tradition or custom, to network anchors yesterday. And they quickly leaked the contents of the meeting. Who would believe how bad it has gotten with the mainstream media, which has gone totally bonkers? That was at 7:53 p.m. Now, here's a tweet from Edward Snowden at 9:48 a.m. Edward Snowden, as we know, was the gentleman who leaked the NSA stuff. Edward Snowden said, "This story is amazing. Just bonkers amazing. Allegedly, an NSA guy walked out with their entire arsenal of digital weapons, one that would soon be used to shut down global shipping, and, in true IRL clickbait, you will not believe what happened next." This is what someone has postulated is a message between Edward Snowden and Donald Trump. Why are they both using the word bonkers on the same day? Very, very interesting. And finally, here from the Gateway Pundit, Nancy Pelosi won't take meetings with any U.S. citizen whose family member was killed by illegal aliens. Because she's a piece. 36-year-old paramedic Paul Besaw was killed alongside his paramedic colleague, 51-year-old Lahiri Garcia, when they were struck and killed by a drunk illegal immigrant in February 2017. Palm Beach County records show the driver, Gennaro de la Cruz Alqui, was cited several times for traffic violations over the years. Paul Besaw's wife, Dawn Witherspoon, joined Elizabeth McDonald on the Evening Edit to discuss the recent comments by Nancy Pelosi downplaying the murders and homicides by illegal aliens. Dawn went off on the heartless Democratic leader. This was powerful. Dawn stated, "I am disgusted by Nancy Pelosi. It is unbelievable that we have politicians in our country that do not care about people." And she said it numerous times. But Pelosi doesn't really care what Dawn has to say. Speaker Nancy Pelosi refuses to meet with any of the family members whose loved ones have been killed by illegal aliens. Pelosi just doesn't care. Let's take a listen.
He shouldn't back down. Listen, Todd, this is it. To all the Republicans up in Congress and the senators up there, this is it. This is the fight. There can be no retreat. There can be no backing down. And let me tell you why. I'm not into giving motivational speeches. It's not what I do here, right? This is not about a wall to the Democrats. This is not about funding for a wall. This is not about immigration. This is about the Democrats attempting to destroy the Trump presidency right now.
Yes.
This is the line in the sand that we have to all be willing to take it on the chin a little bit in this fight, but there can be absolutely no backing down. That wall and that money will be President Trump will win this fight. He's resolute. Everybody has said he's resolute. Sources behind the scene have said that. All he needs is congressional Republicans to stand with him like they did in the Kavanaugh fight when some were getting wobbly.
Yeah.
This is the fight. The fight is right now.
But wait, Dan, good morning to you. Listen, I got to challenge you on that because you say take it on the chin. This isn't just taking it on the chin, and it's different from Kavanaugh because you once were a government employee, and hundreds of thousands have now gone without a paycheck. They're feeling real pain. Isn't it time for both sides to give a little bit so we can get this government reopened? We're in day 22, the longest in history.
Yeah, Griff, let me throw a couple 100,000 back at you. You know, 266,000 people who are illegally in the country were arrested. You know, listen, yeah, I was a government employee, and I do sympathize. My former Secret Service friends who are hardworking people, men and women who put their work boots on every day and put their butts on the line to go to work, those people aren't getting paid right now. But you know what? People have died, Griff. We've got fentanyl coming across our border. We have chaos at our border. There is a crisis at the border right now. We have people being arrested in our country every day who are here illegally, 100% of them who should not be here. That's a crisis. This is the fight. It's time for everybody in Congress to man up. And Griff, the Democrats could open the government tomorrow. These are the very same people who supported in the Secure Fences Act, a fence and a border in the past. They are complete, total hypocrites. So
the hypocrisy is astounding. All right. We have not only a humanitarian crisis and an immigration crisis, but we have a debt crisis, a budget crisis. All right. They are just fine allowing all of this money to be spent on exactly what Dan Bongino was just talking about. Okay. Every day, hundreds of illegals are arrested. All right. Every day, it is a drain on our system. Every day, illegals are receiving benefits in many places of our country. All of this could be avoided if we had the immigration policies in place, if we had a border wall in place. People like this woman's husband would be alive today if Nancy Pelosi gave a rip. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much for joining me. I am RedPill78. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to check the comments down below, and there's some information about this video in the description. Once again, good luck and God bless.